So this lecture is on bisubstrate reactions. This is the usual disclaimer that this is meant for you guys only, and it should not be used for any other purpose, copied or posted on any site without the permission of the author, that is me. And some of the pictures in the presentation have been taken from public domain websites or popular books to make the topic easy to understand. The credit for such pictures remains with the original publisher. Now, bisubstrate reaction, majority of reactions, biochemical reactions in living system, they are bisubstrate reactions. So bisubstrate reactions, inherently their kinetics are bisubstrate enzyme catalyzed reactions. They have much more complex reaction kinetics. We have understood the reaction kinetics. We have derived the Michaelis-Menten equation, taking example of one substrate enzyme catalyzed reaction. For the sake of simplicity, for easy understanding, we have taken the example of one substrate enzyme catalyzed reaction. But as I told you in that lecture also, that majority of these reactions, biochemical reactions in living systems, are bisubstrate, but their chemical kinetics are very complex. For example, as I said, majority of reactions in the biological systems are bisubstrate in nature. For example, reactions catalyzed by transferases. So this is an example of typical bisubstrate reaction. Bisubstrate means there are two substrates involved, substrate 1 and substrate 2. And these two react to give you two products. This is product 1 and this is product 2, right? Now, why the reaction kinetics are complex? Because having one additional substrate, there are possibilities of having as many as 4 binary complexes. You can have enzyme combined with substrate A to give you an enzyme substrate A complex, enzyme E combining with substrate B to give you EB complex, or you can have complexes with each of the two products before they are liberated. Similarly, you can have good number of ternary complexes as well. You can have enzyme combining with substrate A followed by substrate B to give you a ternary complex. You have both the products complex with enzyme before they are free. You have one substrate and one product combining with enzyme to give you a ternary complex. You have second product and second substrate like that, and you can have crosses of these two also. So that is how you can have as many as 8 ternary complex. It is because of these that the reaction kinetics becomes very complex. Now, how do you calculate the Km? Because there are two substrates involved, naturally, you have to calculate the Km for both the substrates independently. And it is calculated as per the standard procedure. And what is the standard procedure? For example, suppose if you have to calculate the Km for substrate A, and which is designated as Kma, what you have to do? You have to keep the concentration of the substrate B constant and vary the concentration of substrate A and determine the velocity V0 as a function of different concentration of A. All right. And then what you can do, you can plot a direct plot. You can have concentration of substrate A on the x-axis and you can have V0 on the y-axis. And as you know, you get a typical rectangular hyperbolic graph. This is Vmax. 50% of the Vmax will give you the concentration where you get 50% of the where the initial velocity is half of the maximum velocity, that is the Km. So you can calculate it this way. You can also calculate it by plotting a double reciprocal plot. So you will get a straight line. You have 1 over substrate concentration and you have 1 over V on the y-axis. And this is going to be the Km, right? In the very same way, suppose if you have to calculate the Km for substrate B, so what you have to do, you have to keep the concentration of substrate A constant, vary the concentration of substrate B here, determine the V0 and calculate it as per the direct plot, or you can calculate it by double reciprocal plot. For example, you have a bisubstrate reaction, a classical bisubstrate reaction where aspartate combines with alpha ketoglutarate, you get product 1 oxaloacetate and you get second product L-glutamate. So the Km for substrate 1 aspartate is 0.9 millimolar. It is designated as Km into bracket aspartate. And Km for alpha ketoglutarate is 0.1 millimolar. So both these can be calculated independently. Now, bisubstrate reaction, for the sake of understanding, can be classified into two major classes. You have what is called as single displacement reaction, and you have double displacement reactions. And single displacement reaction in turn can be subgrouped into two. You have random single displacement reaction and you have ordered single displacement reaction. Let us understand one by one what is meant by this. So single displacement means what? In the first place, single displacement means both the substrate A and B must be present at the active site of the enzyme simultaneously. Please understand, single displacement means both the substrate must be present at the active site of the enzyme simultaneously to yield a ternary complex EAB. Okay. In case of random single displacement reaction, one of the subgroups, what happens? Any one of the two substrates can enter the active site first. That means the sequence of entry of the two substrates at the active site of the enzyme is not pre-decided. Any one of the two substrates can enter the active site first. For example, A can enter first, giving you a binary complex EA, followed by entry of B to give you a ternary complex EAB. This is one possibility. Or you can have substrate B entering first, forming a complex EB, followed by the entry of substrate A, giving you a ternary complex EBA. So entry of the two substrate is not pre-decided. Example of random single displacement reaction is reaction catalyzed by phosphotransferase. What happens? These are the two substrates, ATP and creatine. In presence of phosphotransferase, what you get? You get ATP plus phosphocreatine. So entry of these two, ATP and creatine, at the active site of phosphotransferase is not pre-decided. Either ATP can enter first or creatine can enter first. Okay, and you get a ternary complex which will give you the two products. So this is what is called as random single displacement reaction, and you must explain it giving this particular example or any other suitable example you may deem fit. Now what happens in case of ordered single displacement reaction? In this also, both the substrates should be present at the active site simultaneously, but the sequence of entry of the substrates at the active site of the enzyme is pre-decided. This is the difference. In case of random, it was not pre-decided. In case of ordered, and therefore the name ordered, it is pre-decided. The substrate which enters first is called as leading substrate. Okay, for example, substrate A enters first to give you a binary complex EA, followed by the entry of substrate B. So you get a ternary complex EAB. In this case, this sequence is pre-decided that first substrate A will enter, followed by substrate B, entry of substrate B. And since A enters first, it is called as the leading substrate. Example of ordered single displacement reaction is reaction catalyzed by malate dehydrogenase. MDH means malate dehydrogenase. So you have malate, you have NAD, what you get? Product 1 oxaloacetate, NADH plus H. Here, NAD is the leading substrate. What does it mean? It means that NAD enters the active site of the enzyme first, giving you ENAD binary complex, followed by the entry of malate. So you get a ternary complex ENAD malate. All right. So this is a classical example of ordered single displacement reaction. So you can understand this from these diagrams also. For example, in random single displacement reaction, you have the enzyme, either substrate A can enter first, followed by substrate B to give you ternary complex EAB. Or it can be vice versa also, substrate B can enter first, followed by substrate A. The entry is not pre-decided. You get this complex, you get the ternary complex with the product. Then product 1 can be liberated, P can be liberated first, followed by Q, and enzyme is freed. Or Q can be liberated first, followed by P, and enzyme is liberated. In case of ordered, you have enzyme substrate A enters first, giving you a binary complex EA, followed by the entry of substrate B to give you a ternary complex EAB. The entry is pre-decided. It will be A first followed by B. Here the entry is not pre-decided. This is the fundamental difference between the two. But in both the cases, please remember that both the substrates should be present at the active site of the enzyme simultaneously. So you get the ternary complex with the product, and then the liberation of the product, release of the product from the active site is also pre-decided. P will come first followed by Q. So you get the enzyme free again. All right. So these are single displacement reactions. Now what happens in case of double displacement reaction? These reactions are also known as ping-pong reaction. They are also called as ping-pong reaction. What happens? The fundamental difference between the double displacement and single displacement is that in case of double displacement, one substrate must be bound, enters the active site of the enzyme, binds it. One product must be released before the entry of the second substrate. So this is the difference. In case of single displacement, both the substrates are present simultaneously. In case of double displacement, one substrate enters first, one product is released, and then only second substrate can enter. The first substrate, transfers a functional group. It reacts with the enzyme. It transfers a functional group. It reacts with the enzyme to form a transient chemically modified form of enzyme. Transient means temporarily enzyme is chemically modified. And how does it do it? Chemical modification, as I said, by transferring a functional group. So a functional group from substrate 1 will be transferred to the enzyme. A product will be formed which will be liberated. Enzyme gets chemically modified temporarily, and then the entry of the second substrate takes place. In the subsequent step, the functional group from the enzyme is then transferred to the second substrate, which has now gained entry at the active site to yield the second product, and the enzyme is recovered. The enzyme original status is restored. So please understand, substrate A will enter first, will transfer a functional group to the enzyme, and will chemically modify it. This modification is only temporary. The product thus formed is liberated. So you have at the end of this step a chemically modified enzyme. Second substrate will enter the active site. The enzyme will donate the functional group it has acquired from the substrate 1 to the second substrate, leading to the formation of the second product, which will be freed, and the original status of the enzyme will be restored. So this is what is called as double displacement reaction. So you can understand it from this particular diagram also. So your enzyme entry of substrate 1 takes place. Right? So you get a binary complex EA. Then substrate A will transfer a functional group to enzyme. It will be chemically modified. It is denoted as F, or you can denote it by E star also. Right? So you have a chemically modified form of enzyme complex to the product 1. So this product 1P is liberated, and you have a chemically modified form of enzyme remaining, which can also be designated by E star. Right? Then substrate second will enter, and then this enzyme will transfer the functional group. You get a binary complex FB, and then it will transfer a functional group so that second product Q will be formed, which will be freed. This is second product Q, and the original status of the enzyme will be restored. So classical example of ping-pong reactions or double displacement reactions are reactions catalyzed by a group of enzymes called transaminases. These transamination reactions are very important part of amino acid metabolism. Okay, so for example, we'll take one example. You have aspartate This is substrate 1. Alpha ketoglutarate, this is substrate 2 in presence of aspartate transaminase, or also called as aspartate aminotransferase. You get product 1 oxaloacetate and product 2 L-glutamate. Now, this reaction takes place in 2 steps. So this enzyme aspartate transaminase, it has got a tightly bound prosthetic group, pyridoxal phosphate. Pyridoxal phosphate is also called as vitamin B6. And pyridoxal means it is the aldehyde form. And it is tightly bound. Tightly bound cofactor is also called as prosthetic group. So you have ECHO. ECHO means enzyme with a tightly bound prosthetic group pyridoxal phosphate, which is in the aldehyde form, CHO. Substrate 1, aspartate, will enter first. And what does it do? It transfers a amino group, functional group, amino group to this enzyme. So enzyme gets chemically modified. You have an amino group now attached to the enzyme. This amino group has come from the first substrate, aspartate. And the product thus formed is oxaloacetate. It is liberated. So this is product 1. Oxaloacetate is freed. So at the end of this stage, what you have? You have product 1 freed and enzyme in the chemically modified form. In the subsequent step, second substrate, this is second substrate, it will enter. Enzyme will transfer this amino group it has acquired from the substrate 1 to this. Alpha ketoglutarate will get converted to L-glutamate. This is product number 2. And the original form of the enzyme will be restored. ECHO. We started with this. So this is a classical example of bisubstrate reaction, and you should be able to explain along with this particular example, including these 2 steps as well. Thank you.